the weekend that was in it for Ireland and South Africa. Like there was so much emotion. Such a big build up as well. I think not just the match that takes it out of a squad. It's the build up of leading into it, the media hype. The reigning World Cup champions against the best team in the world, and all this chat of the physicality. Will Ireland be able to deal with it? Like just that in its own, before the first whistle even blows, like is can sometimes take its toll. And I think Andy Farrell and the management in general have done a really good job of absorbing a lot of that media pressure and just letting the guys go out there and do what they do best on the pitch. And it was an exceptional game. Obviously, not a high scoring game, but it was a game full of quality. It was tense, edge of the seat stuff for the majority of the 80 minutes. And, it's just brilliant that Ireland come out on top. And I've spoken to numerous people that were in the stadium, and they said that the atmosphere was worthy of a World Cup final. And that's what it felt like as well after the win. Like it felt like they just won the Rugby World Cup, which I don't think is a feeling that you want to have particularly. Uh, maybe it's just the fans. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just the fans because of the hype leading up to the game that's what they felt. I'd say the players, of course, the elation, the feeling of winning a huge game like that. That maybe a lot of people feel that you're slight underdogs. I'm not sure that they felt they had won the Rugby World Cup. Of course, they didn't. But yeah, just the general feeling around that match and around anybody that was there was that it was one for the ages. Like it really was, and thankfully we come out on top. So the emotional high, and then we've just come right down again with the big week off. Guys getting away, getting their head shard, and then obviously a tapered training week, and then into a match day week again next week against Scotland. So yeah, everybody was a little apprehensive, Donny, about the way the games were falling for us due to having to go South Africa, Scotland, potentially New Zealand, quarter, semi-final, final, and having to put those 4 or 5 games, big games, on the bounce together. But with a healthy squad and a kind of build up with Romania and Tonga, it almost feels like it's now fallen really well for us. If you look at the odds and the handicap in the match, the bookies don't give Italy much of a chance, and I think they'll give them a game, but I don't think there's gonna be an upset with New Zealand falling short against Italy. I know the last 4 or 5 times that they've met, I think the points difference between the two sides is around 30 to 40 points, in the difference. So everybody's going to say that New Zealand's going to win this and most likely run away with it in the last 25, 30 minutes of the match. But of a weekend that's in it, of not particularly exciting rugby matches, even like I was working last night, Samoa versus Japan, a real low level game in terms of quality. Two teams that look like they're struggling for form, and you were expecting that to be a bit of a blockbuster and both teams to go out there and express themselves and throw the ball around and just, go for it. And they sort of went into their shells a little bit. Now, tonight, Italy might go for it a bit more. They're 2 from 2, sitting pretty above New Zealand currently in the group on 10 points. But New Zealand have got to go out and get some momentum going in this tournament. It's been a long wait since that first defeat against France, of course. So yeah, this is the game that we're all excited for, and I suppose Irish fans will be tuning into this one tonight to see how New Zealand go and to see how what New Zealand we could potentially meet in a quarter final. But Scotland are going to have a say in that also. Everybody's just saying, oh yeah, we should win. We're going to meet New Zealand. We're going to meet New Zealand. Well, it's not as simple as that if we don't beat Scotland, and that's got to be our focus and not to get one step ahead of ourselves. And I think Johnny Sexton actually mentioned in a post-match interview, like as boring and as cliche as it sounds, it is one game at a time, and their focus is fully on Scotland. And maybe in previous Rugby World Cups, they have got 1 or 2 games ahead of themselves, and that's what shot them in the foot. So I fully expect Ireland to be ready to rock and roll. And the other interesting point is to make is, will Jack Conan get a game? Will Stuart McCluskey, Jimmy O'Brien, who have been holding tackle shields for the last 4 weeks over in France, will they get a game? Will they be included in the match day 23? These are all conundrums that Andy Farrell has to try and sort out. And I would be surprised if they were. I would. I think he's probably go full strength again, and he's not going to take Scotland lightly, and he's not going to make a change just for the sake of giving somebody a game at this stage. Unfortunately for those couple of guys that I mentioned, the rugby matches are becoming more intense and more physical, and the longer that you don't play, the less chance that you have of being involved in the next one unless there's an injury. So yeah, that's something I'm sure will be talked about amongst the coaching squad of keeping those couple of players happy and making sure that they do feel included. And you never know. There could be a couple of surprises in the team sheet when Andy Farrell announces it next Thursday, but I'm not so sure there will be, Donna.